Hey y'all, this is meant to be a review of appositive phrases, something you learned about a long time ago, but it can't hurt to go over. Let's get started. First of all, an appositive is just a noun that renames a noun. That's all it is. That is the simplest definition. So when you're looking for appositives, look for noun things, people, places, things, right? Because you'll need two of them near one another. In its simplest form, that's all an appositive is a noun renaming a noun. So let's take a look. Here we have, my dog Bram is named for his shiny black coat. So here's a noun, my dog, it's the subject of my sentence. And here's a noun, Bram. It's a dog also, right? In fact, it's the same dog. This noun renames that one. Similarly, in the second sentence, my brother Foster is named after a Confederate soldier in our family history. Well, look, here's a noun, my brother. That's the subject of the sentence, right? Here's another noun, Foster. Guess what? That's also my brother. Foster renames my brother, right? So these are just appositives. They aren't appositive phrases because they don't have any modifiers, any other information. They're just the noun itself. I also want to point out something else. You'll remember studying the difference between essential and non-essential clauses last year, right? So essential means that you need it. It's necessary. I have two brothers. Okay? Since I have two brothers, it's essential that I tell you which brother I'm talking about. Since it's essential, there are no commas. Anytime you're telling which one out of a group. So if I tell you John Steinbeck's book, The Pearl, I don't use any commas because John Steinbeck wrote a bunch of books. Non-essential clauses are not needed. They're not necessary. Okay? For instance, I only have one dog. There's only one to choose from. So I don't have to tell you my dog's name because I only have one of them. I'm not trying to explain which one I'm talking about. When I only have one, it does get commas. I clearly write very messy on here, guys. I'm sorry. So here are the commas on either side because I have my subject here and my appositive here where it renames it. So since it comes second and there's the verb over here, the rest of my sentence, I have to have a comma on either side. Okay? That is the simplest form of appositives and the rule of essential versus non-essential. Make sure you're taking your notes as you go. When we talk about phrases, right, if it's a phrase, it includes the appositive, the noun part that renames another noun, and the modifiers, okay? So let's look at this one. I left my iPad, my favorite school supply, in Mr. Hoover's room, and he locked the door. I wrote the sentence because I think I've heard about 800 people say this year. Or maybe I've heard about 4 people say it 200 times each. I'm not sure. So here's the subject of my sentence, my iPad, right? Actually, technically the subject is I, but when we're talking about the what the appositive is renaming. The appositive is renaming the iPad, right? My favorite school supply. So this starts with a possessive pronoun, right? Which it can sometimes help you find an appositive if you're looking for one. It has favorite in here, right? So favorite is actually not a noun. Imagine that. It's an adjective. It describes something. Technically here, school is working as an adjective too, right? What kind of supply? A school supply. So way over here is my appositive. But these are the modifiers. There's supposed to be an S on the end. There we go, modifiers. So this whole thing, all of this, my favorite school supply, is the appositive phrase. And it's an appositive because it's renaming the iPad. Another thing that can help you, we're talking about possessive pronouns being something to help you find appositive phrases when you're looking for them, or help you start them sometimes, right? Articles. A, and the. Hopefully you remember those. You learned them a long time ago in like 1st or 2nd grade. So articles, a, and the. They're like great big stop signs that say, guess what, a noun's coming. Okay? So, Mrs. Burleson, a, oh look at that article right there. Fabulous teacher, that looks like a noun to me. Spends hours grading essays. So Mrs. Burleson is my subject here, actually the subject of the sentence, doing the action. And then we have a fabulous teacher. So all of this together works as my appositive phrase describing Mrs. Burleson. It's renaming her. The noun is actually teacher, of course, and it has modifiers that go with it. That's what makes it a phrase, not just an appositive. And you can do this with any of those articles. They're great tools when you're trying to write an appositive and you're not sure how to do it, or you're looking for an appositive. Look for the articles and see what's with them. Also notice here again we have commas on either side. Very, very important. Continuing. So it's great that we know the names of these tools like preposition and appositive, right? So prepositional phrases are great because they give you more details. Yay! Appositive phrases are really nice because they can really help with combining. Some of you, as we're reading your writing, have a lot of like short, choppy sentences that are about the same thing. So if I was writing a paper about how much Mr. Stevens hates Ugg boots, because he does, I might have a sentence that said, Mr. Stevens hates Uggs. I might have another sentence that explains what Uggs are. Uggs are boots with a silly name. Well, I can combine those. Mr. Stevens hates Uggs, boots with a silly name. So I've taken this sentence here, right? And I've made it into an appositive phrase. So now, boots with a silly name is my appositive because this is the noun that's renaming, right? It's the appositive. The boots itself is the appositive. And these are modifiers over here. And then I have Uggs, which is the noun that's being renamed. Mr. Stevens is my subject because he's the one doing the action, right? So I have Uggs. Oh, I should make that an A because it's the appositive. So this appositive phrase describes Uggs. It renames Uggs. And look, even though it's at the end, which is the appositives can go many places. We don't see them at the end as much. But here's the comma to offset it. All right, it can go in the beginning or middle or end, as we were talking about just then, right? So we have, you can put it at the beginning like we've seen, and have a comma right after it, which is actually what we're going to look at now. You can have it in the middle and have 2 commas around it, or you can have it at the end and have a comma before it, okay? So let's take a look here. An intelligent, funny lady. She always made an excellent party guest. Now here is my article that helps me identify that, oh gosh, there's a noun coming. And if you look, there's my noun. So this is actually the appositive, right? And then I have the modifiers in intelligent, funny. And here's a noun that it's renaming, the subject of my sentence. So this appositive phrase is renaming she. Now, it's your turn. Yay! It'll be a lot like we've done before. So you will get something that looks like this, and each slash represents an appositive phrase to add. So, finally he found it. Well, that could stand all by itself, right? But if I add an appositive phrase, it makes it a lot clearer. So, finally he found it. A comfortable spot to nap. So here is my appositive phrase. And if you look closely, well, we won't worry about that right now, just kidding. And here's the noun it renames, and I'm going to draw my arrow. Yay, it's very clear. So a comfortable spot to nap is what he found, right? Then we have, here's your dash, your slash. Joey ran at the referee and nearly broke the man's jaw with his helmet. So you're going to add an appositive phrase to that one. The table is completely covered in junk mail, candy wrappers, moldy coffee cups, and bobby pins. You're going to add an appositive phrase right in here. Remember, an appositive phrase is a noun that renames a noun. Susie screamed when she saw the bug, and you'll add an appositive phrase at the end. All right, good luck.